Let's get started.
J.C. Sherbert. Woo! 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 Woo!
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
The electricity here in Columbia, well, has been buzzing loudly all weekend.
Passion of the crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium is second to none.
And the rave breaks out in Columbia.
It is good!
Gamecock fans, welcome home.
See how it goes, but we'll be ready to go.
It's time to root.
Let's go, Carolina! It's gone! Touchdown! What a hit! He baked it in! Can you believe it? Gamecocks have won this game!
Here are your hosts, J.C. Sherbert.
Oh, watch him celebrate now!
Phil Molinex.
My wife doesn't like hanging around losers.
And Jamie Bradford.
I'm going to tell him, you look like you joined Duck Dynasty.
All right, greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard Inside the Gamecocks, the show, live from the Sinorama Studios and very proudly presented by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Sinorama is the preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics, and tonight when you're at Founders Park cheering on the garnet and black against Missouri, you'll see their hard work and their very talented work all over the yard, just as you do at Williams-Brice Stadium, Colonial Life Arena, and so much more in Columbia and beyond. They'll do work anywhere in the state of South Carolina. You do not have to be in the capital city. Signarama.com, Gamecock owned and operated. Signarama in Columbia. If you think you need one in the future, go ahead and store this phone not only in your brain, but phone number not only in your brain, but in your phone. 803-407-9284. They'll wrap your vehicle as well. Phil Molinex and me, JB, here till 1 o'clock this afternoon. It is our last day together, Phil. I shed a tear this morning.
That's right.
We're going to be joined again by JC on Monday, and he is alive. We did talk to him this morning. He sent us a message. So it's all good. It's all good. Phil will also be joined today by Stuart Lake, as he does on Fridays, to preview the Gamecocks series, and it's a big one this weekend. Top 25 matchup with Missouri coming to town. They did get some tough news this week, losing one of their better arms who has started one game, come out of the bullpen for 5 or 6 more, but I think he had something like 28 strikeouts in 17 or 18 innings, but he won't throw against the Gamecocks. Carolina, of course, will stick with their weekend rotation. So we'll get to all of that. G.G. Jackson this morning officially, I guess, declared for the NBA draft. It was one of the more unconventional, no hype type of announcements I'm pretty sure I've ever seen via Instagram Live. So we're certainly going to talk about. We're trying to get John Whittle to pull double duty and plug himself into our program for a little bit today to kind of go over that and talk a little hoops and that stuff as well. But that's on the agenda. The ladies, they'll tip off tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So you got a great sports day tomorrow for South Carolina, pulling Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks through at 2. First pitch, game 2 of this baseball series at 4. And we got some football to get to. And in addition, last night was a magical evening in the Sweet 16. Gonzaga and UCLA were absolutely spectacular, but they were not better than Kansas State and Michigan State, which went to overtime, and Kansas State prevailed by 5 with a last-second basket that didn't matter. Florida Atlantic, Phil, is off to the Elite 8. There's a chance that they could get into the Final Four, in the game that I thought would be really good was awful. UConn throttled Arkansas 88-65. So more on deck tonight, but it was a special night of hoops.
Yeah, it definitely was some really good games last night, and didn't go the way I needed it to for my brackets, but that's all right. It's still, I don't mind seeing Tennessee lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I thought Arkansas would put up a bigger fight, but my goodness, it was just the threes were raining down from UConn. It was just everything behind the arc seemed to be hitting the bucket.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah, it was that was an incredible game, man. I just kept getting texts, and the only thing that was being sent back and forth between me and whomever was, "Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?" I mean, I honestly think it might be the best game I've ever seen in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I've gone back because there's a lot of points. It was pretty well officiated. It was a physical game. It was a clean game. They hit shots. I mean, it was awesome, dude. And let this sink in for a second, Phil. Coming from the one side of the bracket, which would be the East and the South combined, in the national championship game, you're going to have one of 6 teams. Of course, there's games to be played tonight. Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, Princeton, FAU, or Kansas State. None of them traditional blue bloods in the sport of college basketball. So either way you look at it, any way you look at it, coming from that side of the bracket, there's going to be new flavor, not only in the Final Four, but in the national championship.
Yeah, for sure. And then when you look at the seeding, you got 1 seed, 1 3 seed, and everything else is 5 or lower.
Yeah.
Just like we drew it up.
Do you have I think we talked about this last week. And by the way, today is unbelievable day in the National Days calendar, which I'll get to in just a moment. It's an unbelievable day. I mean, it's a great day to celebrate. I think we talked about this last week, Phil. Do you want to see Alabama is the number 1 seed in the tournament? So do we want to see the number 1 seed in the tournament in the Final Four? Is that you generally want to see great basketball in the Final Four, but I mean, you can make an argument right now that all these teams are playing great basketball. Look how far they've come. So is that?
I tell you what, I don't mind not seeing blue bloods there. I don't think the seeding matters. I think it's interesting that you get Alabama as a 1 because, like you said, they're not a traditional power. So it's going to be interesting if they do make it all the way, just to have some different names in there. But I mean, golly, what Kansas State? They've made a Final Four before, under Frank. Trying to think, Creighton, it's a name you usually hear. Princeton, FAU is the one that really just it surprises me. Florida Atlantic out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think even more so than Princeton because we've seen Princeton make runs before. They have a really good program. I remember when they beat South Carolina last year, I said, "You better pay attention to this team. This team's good." Right. And nobody wanted to hear it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You still don't lose to teams like that. Well, they beat the hell out of everybody since then. So, I mean, look what they're doing. Is it FAU from that side of the bracket over Creighton and over Princeton because those two do have some basketball tradition? Is it FAU that's become the Cinderella out of that group?
Right. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, and San Diego State, they're around. I mean, being a West Coast team, I wouldn't call them a power, but they make the tournament consistently. And FAU is the one that they're the up and comer. They are the quintessential Cinderella.
Yeah, I think. So it's an interesting matchup tonight with Bama and San Diego State because Bama can score and San Diego State plays defense. So somebody's going to win out here. Mm-hmm. I think that getting Bama in, and I see here in the Nana Sports chat box, Quantrell said, I do want to see Bama in the Final Four because of Brandon Miller, because it is good to have the stars of the game in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with him there. And as you already pointed out, Phil, Bama, although the top overall seed, they're not a blue blood in college basketball. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone there, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. If you're kind of where I am in this, you just get blue blood fatigue. But on the other side, UConn and Gonzaga all of a sudden looks like just a really special matchup that's going to be played tomorrow night. And then you got Xavier in Texas and Houston and Miami. So I don't know how this thing's going to play out. But I do think that it's pretty neat, and I'm not taking any shots at anybody here. I just think for the sport of basketball, I just think that it's neat to not have North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky,
Kansas.
Yeah. I mean, kind of the same old. I mean, Gonzaga's still in there, and although they're a 3 seed, I mean, they're one of the best programs in the country over the last 15 years. It's neat to see UConn doing it again. Look what Texas went through this year. Cannon, their coach, that's kind of a forgotten storyline on this. Everything that happened with Chris Beard,
mm-hmm.
it's almost like, well, how important are head coaches? Because here's Texas, about to slide their way into the Elite Eight. We'll know tonight around midnight. You got Houston.
I wonder what the makeup of that team is. Did they add a lot of transfer portal pieces in the offseason? I don't know enough about Texas basketball to know how they've overcome losing their head coach, but
yeah,
my gut tells me there's some portal stuff there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's essentially a part of every program in some way, shape, or form now, just how much. But to the in the Nana Sports chat box, Craig said that 5'8" point guard is amazing for K-State. Yeah, dude, we've never seen I've never seen a stat line like this, not in my lifetime, and especially on this stage. I mean, he did break the NCAA tournament record for assists in a game last night. He had 19, 18 was the record, and he broke it on that. So was that a fake play Did anybody ever discover what actually happened there? Was he really trying to figure out what his coach was explaining to him, or was that a setup to get everybody to pay attention to him, and then he just threw up that reverse alley-oop dunk?
It worked perfectly. It's just, it's the definition of, situational awareness. You have to be aware of what's going on at all times if the ball is live. And Michigan State just kind of fell asleep.
I mean, yeah. I mean, dude, it was like I kept watching TV all night trying to, listen to the experts, and they seemingly all thought that was kind of a drawn-up, set-up play.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll go with them. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it was genius. It worked.
Well, and the flair at the end with the reverse dunk is what put the cherry on it,
Yeah.
He didn't just slam it home. He caught it and threw it in over his back. Just amazing. Our man Tristan, who owns a couple of painters. Good morning, everybody. I'm down in North Charleston today. What's the best barbecue place around here? I'm in the Dorchester Road area by Lowe's and Walmart. Well, so he must be doing some painting down here today. A couple of painters at LetMePaintSomething.com. They paint our program garnet and black. And by the way, Tristan, I'm going to be sending you here soon a couple of some business, because I need you to quote me on a couple of folks. Barbecue on Dorchester Road. I'll have to think about that. But let me throw a curveball at you. Today is National Cheesesteak Day. National Cheesesteak Day.
Cheesesteak.
All right. National Cheesesteak Day. It is also National Cocktail Day.
Oh.
It is National Cocktail Day, and it is National Cheesesteak Day.
So that's two great tastes that go great together there, JB. That's what that sounds like an evening.
They'll take you right into a nap. DB's Cheesesteaks is my go-to in Charleston. Authentic. The cheese is actually not just laid on top of the cheesesteak. It is the cheesesteak. The sandwich itself is made with the cheese, so it's in there. What is my so would you describe a cocktail as just anything with liquor in it, or does it have to be fancy?
Oh, I don't think it has to be fancy. I mean, some of the best cocktails are the simplest ones. Like I'm a big fan of the old fashioned, right? Little bourbon, little simple syrup, dash of bitters, and let's go.
Yeah. How about just Buffalo Trace on the rocks with a splash of ginger ale? Is that a cocktail?
Oh, yeah, that's a cocktail. Okay. Yeah, you got a mixer. Anything with it has to have a mixer. That's what I'll qualify it as. A cocktail has to have at least one mixer, but it doesn't have to be bougie.
Yeah, I can't do all that, because my go-to if we're gonna be kind of sipping throughout some of the afternoon or whatever it is, has turned into Dixie vodka. I love Dixie vodka, and it has to be the 5-calorie cranberry juice, not 50-calorie, definitely not regular cranberry juice, too much sugar. Has to be the 5-calorie cranberry juice. With all that said, tonight at Patrick Davis, I'll be drinking some of his blackberry whiskey jam, because that is sensational as well. So you're an old fashioned? You're an old fashioned guy?
I am. I'm weird like that. Either that, or I'm real simple with liquor anymore these days. I like, I typically drink my bourbon neat. That rocks occasionally. And if I do decide to have a cocktail, it's typically an old fashioned. I don't know.
So Tristan's getting some help here.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, we got some barbecue places.
Mad Dog 2020. No way.
No, yeah.
Sorry, dude.
How old are we brewing?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Takes you back to a time and place right there.
Yeah, that's right. Jim and Nick's is out there. When my wife was in medical school, she worked at Jim and Nick's, so we know those guys pretty well. Good place to eat, no doubt. Marion, yeah, that's right. Swig and Swine is out there. Swig and Swine's really good. On the corner of Trolley and Dorchester. So there you go. Couple of and Saunders said he's headed to DB's. Yeah, so I know those guys really well. As a matter of fact, their original store, Sonder, is in Bethany Beach, Delaware, which is where my wife's family is from. So before Danny opened his location down here, we knew them. We knew his parents and stuff. And they used to do a bunch of stuff with me on ESPN and JB and Goldwater. So, yeah, it is their place. DB's here is really good. If you ever get to Waynesville, North Carolina, all right, ever get to Waynesville, North Carolina, there's a place in downtown Waynesville, which is, your historic downtown Main Street with all the shops on either side, called the Smoky Mountain Sandwich Shop. They have one of the best cheesesteaks I've ever had in my life. It is so good.
Oh, nice.
And it is so authentic. And I'm so happy that there are people like Danny at DB's and M up there and some other people I know that will dispel the rumor that it is not an authentic cheesesteak if it doesn't have cheese whiz on it. That's not true. It's only for, so here's what I've learned. And I think I've actually heard Don Staley mention this before too. There's a section of Philly that uses cheese whiz. That's it. Like, it doesn't mean that that's the only way to do an authentic Philadelphia cheesesteak. So you can use, of course, American cheese or provolone or whatever you're planning to do, but it does not have to have cheese whiz to be an authentic cheesesteak.
Yeah, I prefer the provolone as opposed to the whiz.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm with you. Totally. And I like mayonnaise on mine, and I like lettuce, and I like tomato.
Oh, and I like
chopped up onions. Chopped up onions got to be cooked with the meat though.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got to have the grilled onions on there. I like the provolone, and take mine with some brown mustard.
Some brown mustard.
I know that's not a very traditional cheesecake, but it's delicious.
Oh, you put brown mustard on cheesecake as well?
Not cheesecake, cheesesteak. Hell, I'd eat brown mustard on cheesecake as well. I love mustard. I'll put it on anything. I mean, yeah. In fact, maybe I'll try that. It'd be a good pairing. You got, that harsh, kind of acidic flavor of the mustard with the smooth sweetness of the cheesecake. All right, there we go.
All right. There you go. Chef Boyardee Phil is at it again. BRC
That's
says,
right. That's right.
I love a good Jack and Coke or a 7 and 7. No question. Jason says white American and provolone combo makes for a great cheesesteak. He also says old fashions are simple yet elite, and with different butters and or syrups, you can slightly change them. Always an easy go-to. I'm with you on that one, my man.
Yep.
All right. So we're late. Let's hit a break. Stuart Lake is waiting patiently on the other side. We'll get into some Gamecock baseball and find his best cheesesteak place as well right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The real estate market has changed dramatically from just a year ago. Rates, supply, demand, all of your traditional factors are in a transition phase. That's why if you or someone you know are considering making a move in the Lowcountry, contact me, JB, at Coast to Coast Realty. I work with an outstanding support cast of attorneys, lenders, inspectors, insurance agents, and more, all of whom are valuable in helping find a way for you to comfortably make your real estate decision. That's right. Call me, JB, your Lowcountry real estate broadcaster.
Traveling to cheer on the Gamecocks? Reserve your hotel stay with Fan Plans. Your booking supports Inside the Gamecocks and the Big Spur, plus you still earn your hotel loyalty points. Visit fanplans.com/Inside the Gamecocks.
What's up, Gamecock Nation? This is Jakar Moore from the DMV, and you are listening to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, brought to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Give John Barber and his team a call, 803-446-4662, to talk about how they can get some more sunshine into your life. And, of course, the first hour of the show is brought to you, as always, by Cindy Searfoss of Coldwell Banker Kane Realty here in the Upstate. Give Cindy a call at 864-414-5271 for your upstate residential real estate needs. And we're joined now on the McKellar Enterprises guest line, as we typically are on Fridays, by Coach Stuart Lake to talk some baseball. How we doing this morning, Coach?
Good. Is this sports talk today, or did I turn into Foodies R Us?
Yeah,
that's the general appeal of the show, Stuart. Is you never know where it's going to go,
and it is definitely there today. I turned in and got to hear about barbecue and cheesesteak. Now I'm starving, so thank you.
Well, and you got your hat back on this week, so the Louis C.K. stuff was didn't take well, did it?
Well, they tried to get me to put it on backwards, but I didn't want to go with that look either. But yeah, this Louis C.K. I watched a little of his stuff, so I'm gonna try to go a different direction maybe from there.
Put a little distance in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Do you like cheesesteaks? Do you have a go-to cheesesteak place?
You know, it was funny. I used to go to one when I was at Charleston Southern and all Phillies. Right there, it was on Dorchester and Ladson, and Coach Wilkinson used to take me there, but it just closed. So sitting there like, I don't know where you go now. What did you guys ever figure out? What's the best one in Charleston now?
I like DB's in Avondale.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, like, some restaurants, you know, they're all right. And then you get surprised here and there. That's my go-to. Anytime I want one, I just go to DB's. But you know what? I switched to the buffalo chicken cheesesteak for whatever reason. I tried it once and I couldn't get off of it. So if you're ever down, whenever you're back down here, if you're in the Avondale area, just pop in over there. It's good. It's really good.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I enjoy them. Obviously, I'm not going to stay away from anything that ends in sandwich. I'm pretty good with.
No. And apparently our man Craig doesn't stay away from anything that's brown. In his cabinet, he has Larceny, Buffalo Trace, Weller, Blade and Bow, Four Roses, small batch, Whistle Pig, Elijah Craig, and Angel's Envy. So, Craig, we'll swing by around 5.
Get right.
And
we'll do a flight with you.
Yeah, I'll do a flight with you. That'll be my pregame for Patrick Davis tonight. So we'll be watching Carolina baseball on our phone at Patrick's show.
I wonder how much an Uber is to North Augusta.
I don't know. But do you remember the story of the guy that, I think it was a guy that he passed out or something. He put the wrong address in Uber, and the Uber driver said, well, it's the address he gave me. So he drove him 2 states in the middle of the night. It was like an $800-something Uber ride. Did y'all ever see that story a couple years ago? The guy woke up and he was like, why am I in Virginia? And I'm from New York or whatever it was. And the address you gave me, man. Like, I drove you there. So, hats off to the Uber guy.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. So here we go. Round 2 in the SEC. By the way, in the league this week, 4 ranked matchups. Folks might as well get used to that. It's pretty much going to be every weekend that way. Top 5 matchup, which actually will throw the first pitch, is what I've got here at 1:00 down in Baton Rouge. I guess that's noon their time. I don't know if they moved it up for weather. I have no idea, but 5th-ranked Arkansas at top-ranked LSU. Tonight, you've got 3rd-ranked Florida at 13th-ranked Ole Miss, a place that Coach Lake knows well. 21st-ranked Texas A&M is at 12th-ranked Tennessee this evening. The Vols, of course, are trying to rebound from what happened last weekend against this team, 22nd-ranked Missouri, who is in Columbia to take on the 11th-ranked South Carolina Gamecocks, and what many people outside of our fan base, at least, sees as kind of a surprise with these two being in the top 25, Coach. But if we learned anything last weekend, it's that we didn't really learn anything at all. It's the same old, same old. This is the SEC, and these things can happen.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know if you guys watched last night. Georgia had a 3-run lead in the 9th against Auburn. Mm-hmm. Ended up losing that game, I think.
Oh, they did?
10 or 11 innings.
Yeah, Auburn came back.
Auburn. Auburn ended up tying it on a throwing error, which would have ended the game. A throwing error tied it, and then walk in the I think it was 11th inning. I think it had gone 2 extra innings. So Georgia kind of reeling right now, and that's what this league will do to you. I talked to Chris Lamonis this week. Those guys have lost 14 in a row in the conference. I mean, when you go back to last year, and then they got swept last week, and they've still got a tremendous confidence in their team, but it beats you down week to week, and you better be ready come Thursday or Friday to go 10 rounds, 15 rounds again. And that's what this weekend's going to be with this Missouri team.
Well, on your note, the Mississippi State note, it's not going to get any easier because they got Vandy in town this weekend before the Gamecocks make their way there next weekend. So Carolina, drops the Charlotte game this week. Coach Lake, not really much to get into in that game. It was just wasn't their night. Yeah. There were. Let me ask you this. I think I added it up the other day. I think the 49ers threw something like 174 pitches or something in the game. They threw a lot of pitches to only give up 2 runs, but it seemed to me like 173 of those were sliders and change-ups. And did they throw a fastball on Tuesday, or did I miss that?
They didn't throw a lot. The biggest thing I took from this week or that game is South Carolina was able to still get the tying run to the plate on a night where most people thought the game was over in about 7th inning. Mm-hmm. It was that I was trying to tell someone that tells you got a pretty good team. When the game, even when you lose, and they're one swing away with Cole Messina at the plate. I mean, they have to hit a grand slam, but you have the tying run at the plate in a game where you felt like you weren't in the game from really that 3rd inning on because of that 5-run inning. So that showed me a lot about their team and this team, that offensively you can still scuffle and give yourself a chance to tie or win a game. And that's this weekend. This is 2 teams. It's going to be kind of cool. I'm going to be there tonight just as a fan. I get to sit in the booth tonight or in the suite with Coach Tanner tonight. We got a function prior to the game and just watch. But I've also prepped myself in case Derek Scott goes down a little bit, which he's been a little sick, to cover it. And I've watched video this week of Missouri. This is a good Missouri team. And they're a team that feel good right now. They scored 5 runs against Kansas in the 9th inning on Wednesday to win a game. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those, there's certain times you'd like to play a team and there's certain times you'd rather not. This might be where you're catching Missouri pretty hot right now. I don't know if they'll sustain this through the whole SEC season, but I know right now they're coming in here probably as confident as they have in a long time.
So I want to get more into your scouting report on the Tigers, because it is a team that is, Coach, generally forgotten about when you talk about SEC baseball. There's so many traditional powers in this league, as we know, including the Gamecocks, and it's like this team that they haven't done much in recent years. Before I get into that, though, I got to ask you, what is it like to sit and watch a game with Coach Tanner? I mean, what does he talk about? Is he calling pitches? Is he calling? What's he doing up there?
It's actually really fun. In a dugout with Coach Tanner and sitting in a suite with Coach Tanner are 2 completely different things. And what I mean by that is, in the dugout, he allowed you to coach. He coached. You really didn't cross much. I did outfielders. He did infielders. Coach Tallman had the scouting report behind us to kind of help us, and Coach Myers called pitches. But upstairs, he's breaking down. It's awesome, to be honest with you. And because he sees things that very few baseball people see. He'll be elbowing you going, he needs to get a bigger lead. At first, he's no way he can score from second with that secondary. Hey, have you noticed their right fielder, he didn't throw an infield outfield, and he really isn't throwing much between innings. You got to run on this guy. It's just things that, a little thing I learned from him, if the catcher drops the ball a lot between innings and never gets off a real catch and throw to second, he's not a great thrower. And it's just so amazing if you'll start paying attention how many catchers who aren't great throwers will drop the ball between innings, or they'll do something casual so they can just throw it down the second and hope you don't notice. And it's just those little things. I look forward to sitting with him. And, you know, he'll always tell me when I go, dude, you need to coach again. I'm too old. No, you're not. You're still seeing things that, honestly, most people don't even know to look for. So they're not seeing them. They don't even know they're supposed to be looking for them to begin with. You know, it's just really cool. So I'm excited to get to sit with him tonight.
I'd like to see him go out and coach like a 12U all-star team.
Well, he claims he's going to be, like he always pick on me, if I ever coach again, I'll be your volunteer. And that's a no shot. No shot. You'll be done told me everything I'm doing wrong so fast. No way. But yeah, he would be hard watching do a 12U. That would be fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be a blast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We could probably do this all day with Coach Tanner. What we'll do next time we're gonna have fun with Coach Tanner is have a bunch of, you know, like the Smokes and stuff of the world. We'll have guys who he, you know, like a Justin, that statute of player, and then a guy like, I don't know, like one of my roommates, J-Rad, who he pretty much told him, I'll kick my own ass for recruiting you to South Carolina. You know, we'll get both of the spectrum. It's not your fault that you struck out on 3 pitches that didn't even make it to the plate. It's my fault.
Yeah, he had he could have some subtle compliments, we'll call them, to hitters and players at times. For sure.
He is one of the best. All right, so to Missouri though. Yeah, so you've already, I mean, we know obviously last weekend everything was good for them. I mean, look how good the Vols staff was walking into the weekend, one of the best in the country. And Missouri had no problems. I think they put 22, 23 runs on the board. So do you know what type of offensive team they really are?
Well, first of all, Missouri is the worst place in this league to play. When you get your conference schedule, there's certain places you don't want to go because it's really hard to play there. I loved going to LSU, but I hated playing there because it's just 9 innings constant. It's exhausting. You're just exhausted, just like Starkville. You're just exhausted when the game's over, whether you've won or lost. So when you see those on your schedule, you're like, oh. And then when you see Missouri and Arkansas is because you know it's going to snow or sleet or be freezing, and you're going to have 20,000 people screaming at you basically from the time you get there to the time you leave. Then Missouri's just miserable. I mean, they've got a turf infield, and they don't overseed their outfield, so it's like dead brown grass. And the weather's always bad. It's an aluminum stadium. So, I mean, there's no real chairbacks. They've kind of thrown some in. And then 2006, we go there, and they got this little right-hander named Matt Scherzer. What's Scherzer's first name's pitching for him. Yeah. So, I mean, that's who we played in a regional, you know, and run into that guy, and you're going, holy cow, that's when they were in the Big 12. So I always liked when Missouri came here. So I do feel like South Carolina, I'd rather be playing them here the way Missouri's playing than be playing them where Tennessee did last week at Missouri. I just think they have a tremendous home field advantage when you play them there.
They've put a lot of guys in the big leagues that you'd be surprised about. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I meant to actually Google some of that before today, because as I mentioned I don't mean this disrespectfully at all towards Missouri or anything like that, but they just, you know, they're often forgotten about in the SEC. Yeah. And did Mark Burley pitch there too? Do you know?
I'm not sure. We definitely can Google to see. But they had great players, and that Kansas City area, just all out through there, great high school baseball players. Yeah. Junior college is still a big deal, so they get it. And now with the portal, what Missouri's got that can get kids is they got SEC beside their name. So they're getting kids through that portal that are coming from the West Coast to want to play in the SEC. So they're a team, but you ask me offensively, I mean, they're hitting 300 as a team. Mm-hmm. And as I looked through, I had the stats today as I was kind of looking. I mean, they've hit 29 home runs. You know, when you start to compare to how we know what we've hit, they're really not a team that should just overwhelm us I mean, their one guy, they've got Hank Zester's got 9 home runs. So, I mean, he's going to be the guy, as they hit him kind of in the middle of their order. But what they did to Tennessee is just not let them score. I mean, they beat them that first game 9-1 with tonight's starter. And, Chandler Murphy is the righty. He went 6, and then they went to the bullpen for 3. So, I mean, they're going to run some dudes out there that I think are going to make it one of those weekends that when you're done, you go, dang, now we get to go on the road to Starkville. So it never ends in this league. I don't care how bad Mississippi State's playing. Next weekend in Starkville, we're going to be sitting here on Friday saying how hard that's going to be, because it will be. But this Missouri team, I do think they're going to come in there with some guys that are going to grab our attention.
Yeah, you almost hope that Mississippi State could snag a couple from Vandy this weekend and kind of straighten it back out. You really don't want to see them desperate in Starkville next weekend. Also want to make sure we point out, too, that to open the season in the college baseball showdown down in Arlington, Missouri did take down both Texas and TCU. So they've got some tremendous wins under their belt this weekend. Of course, nothing better than what they did last week against the Vols. As it pertains to the Gamecocks, Coach, we haven't spoken to you since Carolina went down to Athens last weekend and swept Georgia, and it really was. I mean, you cannot. It is impossible to draw up a better opening weekend than what happened with South Carolina. Yeah, you had 2 10-run rules, but then you also had the magic of Game 1, where we mentioned Coach Tanner earlier. And it was very Ray Tanner-esque for, Coach Kingston to go to the bench, a guy that he's been seeing continuing to improve, at least in practice, the things that we don't get to see. He plugs him in the game. He takes a 1-2 pitch down the right field line, and Michael Braswell, and they get the lead, and they hold on and win the game. So they won it in a couple of different forms last weekend, but ultimately they swept. I mean, when you sweep a series – to open SEC play, how much pressure does that take off of you as a program, or does it? Do the players even acknowledge anything like that?
No, you do. And, a couple things. One, I'm sitting there last night with my son. Georgia is 1 out, 2 outs, I guess you could say. They've had 2 outs both times of being 2-2 in this league. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about it, they're down to 2 outs when Braswell gets his hit. Last night, they're 2 outs away, up a run or 2, and they don't. So that's when it mentally starts to add up against them. But, we're riding. We were at USC Sumter watching a game last Saturday, and I get in the truck, and the first thing I hear is Lee Croy get hit by a pitch. So I look at my son, and I said, tough start for Georgia. Because anytime you can start that rally with a walk or a hit by pitch, you just feel, hey, we got a chance. And then as Braswell gets the pinch hit, I said to him, and I'll share this with you because Billy Anderson, the strength coach, shared with me, Michael has been an incredible teammate throughout this first 21 games of the season. It's real easy for him to have, just said, screw this, I'm going to go in the portal, or be a real just bummer, kind of energy vampire in the locker room. Hadn't been either one of those from everything everybody's telling me. So I looked at Hayden, and I said, I believe in karma. I believe in baseball gods. This kid, if he's been doing everything Billy said, is due, because that's what being a teammate is just you don't get to be the star all the time. And he was a star last year, and this year he's just hasn't had that opportunity. So to see that come through for him, my son just kind of started laughing, and he goes, how'd you know that was going to happen? I said, well, I didn't know it was going to happen, but I'm telling you, if you're that kind of teammate, more good things happen than bad. So that's why then he went out and made that play in the bottom of the ninth. The backhand down the line that certainly was no easy play. So, but where you leave Georgia 3-0, you just feel like you now got one in the bank for if you drop one later on. You didn't go in there thinking sweet. You went in there wanting to win a series. Mm-hmm. And if you lost that first game, then you were thinking about win 1. Get out of here 1-2. We go home, go 2-1. We're 500. When you can walk away opening weekend 3-0, you just feel like you got a little extra money in your account, because somewhere down the line, you're going to get bit in an SEC game just like Georgia has. It's just too good of teams in it not to. So you just got that one little extra one that you feel like can carry you when you need it.
I was going to say, you said money in the account, Coach. You know, the whole beginning of this season seems like just, you know, putting in deposits, you know, to recall later. Can that work against you?
Well, you know, it can. And now here's where it can. Offensively, I told Monty earlier, man, keep getting those big innings, those 12, 15, 16 hit games, because you're going to have 2 hit games somewhere in this league.
Yeah.
Where it can work against you is right now, this is the first time they're having to really come back from a game they thought they should win. You can't say the Clemson game on that Friday night, you just thought you'd win. It's Carolina Clemson. They responded the next day in a huge way with the late rally. I'm curious today to see the energy. Did that put a chink a little bit in your confidence armor? Because they went up there against a Charlotte team that hasn't been playing great. I mean, they have, you know, they were under 500, and you kind of roll into Charlotte, and you're going to have more Gamecock fans than Charlotte fans, and you kind of leave there with your tail a little bit between your legs because 6-2, you know, and you really only rallied there at the end. So I'm interested today to see, you know, we use that word confidence, swagger. I want to see who's got the most, because I'm telling you, Missouri's coming in here with probably the most confidence they've had in a long time going on the road early in the SEC.
You know, we talked to Wingo earlier this week, and I asked him this question a little bit differently, but I'll ask you as a head coach, what is it that they've lost 2 games this year, and we have seen, you know, the good teams, they do bounce back. The good teams don't allow that loss to turn into 2 and 2 to turn into 3 and so on and so forth. So what is it what is the magic potion that prevents that from happening?
Leadership of your players. We as coaches love to be important. We love to give great talks, but tonight's going to be about the players. I feel this is going to be a Will Sanders night. It's finally going to be hot. He's finally going to be sweating. And I do believe he's a better warm weather pitcher than what he's been able to pitch. It hasn't been miserably cold either, but it hasn't been a sweaty game to where when you're really trying to get that grip. I see tonight being a big changeup night for him. You know, a night where the fastball is good because you're warm, but that changeup, he's really the big hand pitcher sweating tonight. I really feel that changeup's going to be his pitch tonight. I look for a great start out of Will, but it's about the players. I mean, they know what to do. I mean, the lineup, he can tinker with it a little bit, but you know who your guys are. I mean, you need your guys to do what you do. But I think tonight, this is a Will Sanders night. I think if you can come out and have the kind of start that I expect him to have on his first warm, I mean, it's short sleeve. It's warm weather up here in Columbia right now. You know, walking around outside, it's already in the early, you know, low 80s. So it's going to be cool. And the place is going to be sold out. I mean, over here in the Gamecock Club, I got people calling now trying to get tickets, you know, and it's going to be a great atmosphere tonight. So I think that's going to serve a purpose for the Gamecocks tonight.
Coach, we've talked about over the last few weeks, we've talked about pretty much every player that's played for South Carolina. One that, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, I'm speaking for myself, and I need to be better about this because I was a catcher, that I don't feel like has been talked about enough is Cole Messina, at least on our program. I go back to, I'll take us back 27 years, I guess, is when it pretty much started. And I think about the traditional power hitting catchers who also could catch for South Carolina, guys named Ryan Bordenick and Brandon Pack. And then, you know, Tim Whitaker had a great year. And then, of course, that rolls into LP. You know, those guys, as we know, hammered it. I don't know that I ever actually saw a catcher hit better than Ryan Bordenick. And then, but then behind the plate, whoever was on the mound, they knew they got it. You know, I trust everything they do. Any sign they put down, anything they tell me. Kip has said this numerous times. He knew when Brandon Pack walked out to talk to him, he needed to listen, and he was the Golden Spikes Award winner. I'm not comparing Cole Messina to those guys. We are 3 games into the SEC season. I'm comparing Cole Messina to Cole Messina and how far he's come in 1 year and what he has meant to this team, not just from a production standpoint and a defensive standpoint, but it appears to me from a leadership standpoint as well. And that's very important to have your catcher be a leader.
No question. But can I give you a Brandon Pack story before we get into that?
All day.
Please.
So 2000, whatever year he came here, that summer, Coach Tolman called me and said, hey, you got to go pick Pack up. He's coming in from California. I said, okay, what time's he fly in? He goes, he's not flying in. He said he's busing in. I don't even know where a bus comes into Columbia. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, he's coming in on a Greyhound. Brandon Pack took a Greyhound from California to Columbia, stepped off the Greyhound. I was there. It looked like George Strait video. He had this big bag on his shoulder and had his catching gear bag. It had taken him 3 days straight through on buses to get here.
Wow.
So when he gets here, I get into his I think an apartment. I call Coach Tanner. And Coach Tanner, we had never seen Brandon Pack. Me and Coach Tanner. Tolman had recruited him. He didn't come on an official visit. He just signed. So Coach Tanner calls me and goes, hey, what's Pack look like? And I said, he looks about 6'4". I said, and he looks like he's a dude. And he goes, you can tell all that picking him up? I said, Coach, the guy just got off a bus with a bag on his shoulder, a catcher's bag, and I left this one out, which is great, and a boom box. I said, if this ain't a dude, I've never seen a dude. And we all laughed because he brought everything he had with him on the old Greyhound. He had changed off. You know, I think he's from Utah, actually, originally. But what he brought is what Cole Messina's brought so far to this team, a dude that showed up every day. You know, here he is. He catches game 1 at Georgia last week. Cassis gets the game off the DH. He plays first. Yep. You know, it's just a guy that, you know, I've known Cole since he was a little kid, obviously in Summerville. It's a guy, and I've said this many times to King when I was here. When you find guys that love South Carolina baseball, they don't worry about themselves.
Right.
And Cole Messina shows me a guy that loves being a Gamecock, and then he worries about himself. He don't worry about himself, then the Gamecocks. And that's what, when you just named Tim Whitaker, Landon Powell, Brian Ball, all those dudes, they wanted to be Gamecocks, then became stars. They didn't come here to be stars who happened to be Gamecocks. And that's what I see Cole Messina having the opportunity to be.
His power numbers right now are outstanding. He's hitting 350 with 9 jacks and 30. I mean, he's had a season. See, I mean, he could, if he really, to your point, if he cared just enough about himself, he could hang it up right now and say, well, hell, I hit 350 last year with 9 jacks. Oh,
yeah, that's why when he came up to the plate on Tuesday, I was like, hell, we're in this thing.
I honestly felt he was about to either get a hit or a home run. I was shocked when, you know, and the guy, don't forget, they made a hell of a play to end that game because the shortstop short hopped the first baseman. And that guy picked it out and made a nice play to end that game. So that's what I mean. When you can still feel like you're got a chance to tie or win games that you really probably didn't, that's when you know you got a pretty good team.
Since we've already blown through our break here, Phil, Coach, do you have about 3 or 4 minutes left? Are you okay on time?
Yep,
okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've already blown through the break, so we'll make it up an hour or two. But, you know, staying on that same topic, you know, a guy like James Hicks is another really interesting dude because we talked to Drew the other day and mentioned this to Drew. I'm not comparing these guys side by side and how they do things or anything like that. I'm comparing them in value. And I mentioned the name Scott Barber because, you know, we would see Scott sometimes close out a game on Friday and he turn around, throw 7 innings on Sunday, which you don't do anymore. And at the end of the year, he had like a 2.6 ERA with 12 saves and 7 wins or something ridiculous. I mean, it was you know, and so I'm not saying that that's James Hicks's role, but I'm saying it seems like James Hicks's role is whatever they need it to be. And he seemingly is a guy who can handle all of those roles. That's rare, isn't it?
It is. It is rare. And I think a great comparison with Barber. Very just quiet guys. You'll see, you know, maybe a fist pump, but you don't see much out of Hicks, you know, until it's over. But I think they set it up clear for us with Jerzenbeck starting at Charlotte. He ain't coming out of bullpen tonight in that 9th inning. It's going to be Hicks coming out in that. I wouldn't be shocked if it ain't the 7th inning. You know, if Sanders is giving you 6 and you can bring him in, and that's also what Barber did. He got old school saves back in those days. He'd get 8, 9 outs, you know, at times. And you're right. Then he would just, you know, run a lot on Saturday and say he was ready to start on Sunday. And that's what I think. I know you're very careful with Hicks because of the arm injury last year, but I don't think that arm injury's got any effect at all on him. I think he's just he's putting new tires on the car, if you will, with that surgery and probably feeling stronger. Usually, as you know, an arm injury doesn't happen on one pitch. It was probably a case of over, you know, high school into junior college, and then it does happen on that pitch. But he just seems really strong to me. And I would think tonight, boy, if Will Sanders could get you into the 7th, I'm not shocked at all to see Hicks come running out of bullpen and try to close it from there on out.
Well, I think that'd be a dream scenario for Coach Kingston if that happened, to get off to a 1-0 start. All right, so Caleb Denny, you know, watching him, I was up there for the Penn series, Coach. Well, you know that. And I was down, I think, game 1, down talking to Scotty before the game, Scott Wingo and Monty. And I looked at those guys, just watching him take BP, and I said, man, he looks like a professional hitter. Not that I'm a scout, but, you know, we've been around enough baseball a long time to know what somebody who knows how to hit looks like. Yep. And just the way that he stepped into the box, his purity, he saw it well. He had slid into that leadoff role, and that really seemed to kind of throw him off balance a little bit. And it just seems like he's been trying to kind of recover ever since then. He did get that big bunt last weekend. I thought maybe that'll get him going. I think he nubbed another one out there. But your evaluation of what you've seen from him maybe the last couple of weeks, because they're going to need him. They have to have this kid hit this season in order to really, truly get where they want to go and achieve what they want to achieve. It's only a matter of time before he busts back out. But how would you evaluate what you've seen and where he is today entering the second weekend?
No, I'm with you. I think I did 13 of the first 14 games, either on radio or TV. And I said this comparison a bunch, especially to Tommy on the radio. It's almost a Paul O'Neill type swing. And we all remember him, just that simple. And usually guys that are that simple don't go into funks like Denny has gone into. But I'm with you, and I really believe in the psychological part. He changed when he went from 3-hole to leadoff. Mm-hmm. And I don't care how much we tell a hitter it don't matter. We've talked about it on here. It still matters. We're still that little 7-year-old kid that remembers going, you're leading off, you're hitting 4th, or you're hitting 9th.
Yeah.
And that mentality never leaves us as hitters. I would love to see, and it's easy for me to say sitting at a desk and not in the dugout, I'd love to see him thrown right back in that 3-hole. Mm-hmm. And you go, come on, Stu, the guy's like 3 for his last 35. Well, you know what? I'm not worried about what he's done. I know what's there. I would love to see him get put back there and just see his confidence again go, they still believe in me. Because when you stick him back in that 8, 9 hole, and I can tell you this from pitching coaches, Jerry Myers, you know, Skylar Meade, you can bat him wherever you want. They still are going to pitch him the same way. So he's not getting better pitches hitting 8th and compared to hitting 3rd. They're still going to throw him what the scouting reports have said have gotten him out. All I see wrong with Denny is right here.
Yeah.
I see him lose a lot of his confidence, because if you'd have made me through 10 games and 15 games circle their best hitter, he'd have been the guy circled. I just think he was a guy that was getting all the big 2-out hits. He was getting some power when they needed it. And he was making Cassis, Messina, and Wimmer he was driving in those runs. I'd love to see him, maybe not in the 3-hole, but I'd throw that sucker in the 5th hole, 5, and just say, dude, I still trust you. Go get 6 RBIs this weekend, and I could care less how many hits you get. Go get 6 RBIs, get on base 5 times, and let's see how the weekend goes.
Boy,
I think he's got it in him.
Once he gets going again, I'm not that this lineup isn't dangerous now, but oh my gosh,
I agree.
He gets going again. Woo!
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be tonight. He'll hit one off the building on the other side of Ray Tanner Way out of right field, and make somebody fire an insurance claim on that on that metal out there, and maybe that'll get it going. All right, so we'll leave you with this. I've been asking for 3 years. I don't know who else to ask. I sent this to Eric Nichols. Nothing ever happened. I don't think I wanted to bother Coach Tanner with it because, I mean, Coach, he's got so many issues. Is the grass cut? All those things that he has to worry about. The people.
Yeah, but he got a raise now this week, so don't forget. So maybe we can put a little more on his plate.
We could put a little more in play. Okay.
Yeah,
you're right. All right. So, we mentioned this to Coach Kingston maybe a year ago, and he said, "I like that idea."
Yeah.
What will it take to get a replica of the Sarge built somewhere on the grounds of Founders Park?
You're setting me up for this, I think.
Yeah.
Because I already have got the spot for it. What I want to do is, if you've noticed now at the stadium, they've cleared off. The university just bought the land beside Founders Park.
Mm-hmm.
That was not our property up until this summer. So they've cleared it off. If you come to a game now, you can go back and look behind on plate. There's cars parking in what's now a dirt parking lot. I want to build right there a replica like they've done at Omaha of Rosenblatt, turf it, make it a small Sarge Fry, do just like Westcott as the buildings, and make it a tailgate area. Kids could play wiffle ball. Have all of us that remember Sarge Fry, because people still don't remember there was a Sarge Fry. Yeah. I mean, Sarge was one of the greatest human beings I ever met in my life. And I want to have stuff. So I have, of all my ideas, this is how my ideas usually go with Coach Tanner. I tell my idea. He looks down the ground and goes, "That's a bad idea." That's usually how my ideas go. I gave him this idea about 3 months ago, and he looked at me and goes, "That's actually a really good idea."
Okay.
So it is a case that it's talked about. It's going to be like Omaha's done. If you ever go online and look what they did with Rosenblatt, it's still a little league sized, like a Miracle League sized field right beside the zoo. You can go get pictures. They've got a few bleachers, some chairs that were left. That's what I want to do right beside Founders, and have our little Sarge Fry where you can go there pregame. In the summer at camp, you got another little field for kids to play on.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that history of Carolina baseball. And at times I feel like we forget Sarge Fry and we forget what happened in that stadium, because national championships and so many great things have happened in Founders Park. But you don't get to Founders Park without Sarge Fry. And that's where I always say, don't forget Sarge Fry. And let's get that little replica field right beside. I think it'd be an awesome place on game days.
You just tell me where to sign.
Awesome.
Tell us what to do and how to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
Who do we need to get Smoke on the line? Does he need to donate some money? I know where he lives. Have a little museum out there. When you walk in, you hear some of the great calls, the Miami Miracle, and all kinds of things going on. I'm with you. Let's do it. So I don't need to say another word about this because you're way in front of me. I had just thought, just do something somewhere on the concourse, but you're talking. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
I want it to be like you said. I want to have the wall. I've already talked to some advertisers that said, "Heck yeah, we'd have our little advertising wall." You remember our Sarge Fry? We had advertising on the wall. It wasn't just a wall.
Yep.
And I've already had people that, you let us know and we want on that wall. So it's a process. Everything is, but again, it passed stage one. Stage one was not getting, that's a dumb idea. I made it past, that's a dumb idea, into it's a pretty good idea. So I feel excited that I'm in that's a pretty good idea phase right now. Now I'm trying to really get some numbers, and that'll be something tonight. Believe me, I'm going to bring it up tonight. When Coach Tanner and I are sitting in that suite going, man, had some more people say, good idea with our Sarge Fry right beside the stadium. So you guys got to back me on this.
Yeah, tell him. I mean, everybody. So you round up the Sarge Fry crew, anybody that played there for 40 years, basically, you know how much support you'll get.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I think that is a fantastic idea. And just put a little railroad track behind the right field wall, and you'll be set.
Absolutely.
Everything, and make sure that when you touch that outfield wall, that the whole State can hear it.
Yep. Yeah, I want to better run into that wall. And I can't wait to stand out there when it's 110 degrees and act like we did when we were playing those regionals back in the day.
Oh man. That was again, here we are, Phil, blowing through everything. But I agree with you because it felt like home. It felt like home. When you walked in there, it felt like home, and you were always, whether you were a fan or a player or a family member, you were treated like you were at home. It was very homey, and people didn't like having to play there, and that's what made it great.
No, absolutely. I had to come back as Ole Miss, and it was not fun coming back there. And I realized at that point why I wanted to be back one day is because of what it is in our fans. And I hope tonight for these guys, they start to feel that environment here, because I think that we've got some great series. You got Missouri, then you got LSU coming in 2 weeks, and then you got Florida coming in it. And if you ever got a chance to get out the Founders and get into it, you're going to have it this year.
No kidding, man. What a schedule. Unbelievable. Well, hey, look, man, we'll have JC put your check in the mail for your overtime.
Yeah.
And really, really do. You could win 10 grand if you were in our March Madness bracket. JC's going to pay somebody a $10,000 bill, whoever wins this thing. But
I think I'd get fired also, though, because of the NCAA rules. So I just stayed out of that bracket altogether.
So Coach Tanner, that wasn't a good idea.
That was
that was not a good idea.
Terrible idea. Old stage one Ray.
Right back to stage one. Oh goodness.
Hey, pull them through tonight, man. Really, 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 really appreciate it. And I'm serious about that. If this thing keeps moving itself forward, please let us know what we can do. We're willing to help. Anything we can do. That I think it's awesome.
Absolutely. And I think it will. I know it's a process. And again, I make jokes, but this is something we got a tremendous history in this baseball program. And we've kind of for years tried to figure out how to do a Yankees version of their memorials. This might be exactly what we could do to just always know who was who, with the people that we've had, coaches and players in this program. So I'm not going to let it go away. I can promise you that.
Okay. Well, we're on board, Coach. Thank you. And, we'll talk to you next week when they're 6-0 in SEC play.
Absolutely. Right. We'll go have a good cheesesteak. Have a good weekend.
You got it. Thank you, man.
All right.
There you
Thanks,
go.
man. Bye, y'all.
Stuart Lake is fantastic. And I am so glad I brought that up because there are definitely smarter people in the world than I am. He is one of them, and he's on top of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Phil. We'll get all the breaks in.
Not like we're on real radio, so there's no hard network outs or anything like that. We don't have news at the top of the hour that we just missed.
We missed the weather report. We're gonna get one of those Spanish weather girls. We'll never miss that break.
That's exactly what. Yeah, you want to keep y'all on schedule. I know how to do that. Yeah.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll be right back.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is Pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Electric Bikes of Charleston offers the most fun you'll ever have on two wheels. The home of Oventon, Velotric, Magnum Bikes, and more, they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. Their electric bikes are equipped with 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle, so you can ride longer, handle the heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available for all ages and sizes. Visit electricbikescharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant if you're in the Low Country. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Hot skillet with a little oil.
Bulldog!
Welcome back, everybody. Second hour of Inside the Gamecocks, the show. It's brought to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. 803-446-4662 is how to get in touch with John Barber and his team down there. Set up a no-obligation consultation about turning your backyard into an outdoor retreat. Another awesome interview with Coach Lake. I'm so glad he's going to be here on Fridays to preview. He's so fun to talk to.
We just need to just clear an hour for him if he's willing to.
I know, right?
I mean, it's hard to, and I apologize too, because for those that just don't love baseball the way we do, it's hard for me to not want to just continue to do it, to talk baseball with him, especially somebody that, has the historical book of Gamecock baseball, and for that matter, the state of South Carolina, because he's coached everywhere in South Carolina. Obviously he's coached at Ole Miss too, but he knows the Citadels program and Charleston Southern's program and CFC's program inside and out. He knows everybody, not just college coaches, but high school coaches and travel coaches. And there's some guys in this world who are just baseball dudes. They're just, like he mentioned, the baseball guys. We only say that if you're a baseball guy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not a baseball guy, you probably don't believe in the baseball guys, but I'll tell all of you, they do exist. They are there. And if you play the game, you know that, because they will reward you and they will punish you. And when they punish you, it hurts like none other. I'm going to continue to just bug him on that little nugget that he dropped there, because
that's something you don't want to see die, especially if they've now cleared out some land.
Well, and that where he's talking, I'm pretty sure where he's talking about is where you media parks now. Like, I parked down there whenever that was, a couple weeks ago, and didn't even realize that it was cleared out. Is that the area he's talking about? I'll have to confirm it. But I think the area he's talking about is back where they've got the media parking right now. But I mean, you've heard me say that. I've said it a lot. I'm like, I think there needs to be some type of replica of the Sarge. But I always thought, like, within the grounds of Founders Park.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why they pay Stuart Lake the big bucks, because he thinks about the things that, that can actually make it happen like that. It would be really, really neat. I've thought too for a while, and for all you Gamecock football fans, Phil, I've thought, and I mentioned this to Eric Nichols one time, I said, why don't y'all put railroad arms up on Bluff Road, like with like the lights that blink above it and stuff? And when you have the Gamecock walk crossing Bluff Road from Gamecock Park, instead of having cops out there to line the streets, drop the railroad arms with the garnet and black lights, on top, play in 2001 or whatever you want it to play while they cross the street. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with LED technology too, you could really make that really neat.
Yeah, and he mentioned to me, well, we got a lot of other things going on, which I get it, and I know that, and they do. I mean, they have this $6 billion project on the table right now. I'm sure if I sent Coach Tanner a text and said, "Hey, Coach, did Eric ever pass along the railroad arm idea to you?" I might get the Stuart Lake response.
Yeah.
or worse.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he may not make it so simple.
It's not your fault. It's my fault.
That's right. Yeah. You get that old school Ray. You get the Coach Tanner. You won't get, AD Ray. Yeah.
I will never forget that moment when J-Rat was like, yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be playing here anymore. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. Well, when I struck out against Auburn, I said, yeah. Well, and to Coach Tanner's credit, he did pinch hit J-Rat. He looked at two strikes right down the middle. I mean, right down the middle. We used to call it right down the D. You can figure out the other three letters. And then they threw him an 0-2 breaking ball that bounced essentially as it landed in the dirt. Like, it barely got it out of the grass and into there. It was probably 6 feet in front of home plate. And he swung the bat and struck out. So, to Coach Tanner's credit, you know, anyways, I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, after I struck out, you know, Coach said, what my fault? And I said, well, his fault. What do you mean? What was he getting at? And he said it was his fault because he recruited me here. He said, I think my playing days are over, man. I was like, oh, yeah, it could be.
Was that his last at bat?
God, it might have been.
It might have been.
It was. I'm trying to think. He did stay around, but he ended up getting hurt, and then transferred to East Carolina, and then got hurt again on a botched hand surgery.
Ooh. Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah. To Bill's credit, he said, JB, you just jinxed us saying 6-0. You said last week the Gamecocks will run into an ambush, and they came out 3-0. You're right, and I mentioned that on Monday. I said I thought that they would run into a little bit of an ambush, which I was right until Michael Braswell stepped to the plate, and luckily he changed all that. So, I'll tell you what. I'm with you. Carolina gets swept this weekend by Missouri.
That's right. Yeah.
They walk in. They walk the dog right across. The dog pees on the mound. Carolina loses by 20 runs tonight, and then we'll wake up on Monday and hopefully they'll have won at least 2. But I'm with you. Whatever it takes. I don't care. I don't have to be right. Carolina gets swept. I said it. Front page news. It's going to. Someone's going to hail me. Hail McGranahan me. JB said Dante Reno is the top 100 player. Well, there you go.
Yeah, post that to the Big Spur message boards. Yeah, get that out there.
I got news for you. Carolina's getting swept this weekend. Now, if they really get swept, I will be sick on Monday. Just kind of a heads up.
But see, now you can't be wrong. You've said both.
Yeah, I said both.
Yeah, that's right.
So it all works out. It would be fine. It will be fine. It is absolutely. I don't know where any of you are, but I hope you're. Well, we know where some of you are because you tell us. I know Tristan's in the Low Country painting somewhere in North Charleston. But it doesn't matter in the state of South Carolina where you are. You can always purchase a bike from Electric Bikes of Charleston. And look at the weather. Oh, my. It is finally beautiful. Electric Bikes of Charleston. electricbikescharleston.com. We know how it works. You get the February warm-up. I do the same thing. And you go out and you seed your lawn. Or you put the weed and feed down. Oh, yeah, spring came early. Woo! And then cold snap, grass turns brown again, weed and feed did nothing. You're pissed. Then it warms up. You go, the first things first, right? You got to go take care of the lawn. We get that. Electric Bikes, they'll concede that as well. But then after that, you start thinking about, well, shoot. You look down, you realize, I put on a bunch of weight around the holidays. I said I was going to start working out after January 1st. Then I said February 1st. Then I said March 1st. Oh my God, it's April, and I'm fat. This isn't going to work. They got the pool opening in 30 days. All right, well, good news. You can take electric bikes up to 60 miles on the charge itself, meaning like you can ride around for 30 miles or 20 miles, or let's start small, 5 miles, and you realize 5, I'm done, but I'm 5 miles away from home. Kick it into pedal assist mode and get home. I'm telling you. If your tax money's coming in, this will be an investment you would be thrilled with, especially to stay in shape. The yard's taken care of. The weeds are dead. The grass is growing. Now you can get out and exercise. You can get into the pool. You'll feel good about yourself. The whole state feels good about Electric Bikes of Charleston, electricbikescharleston.com. And hats off to Michelle. She is a huge Gamecock fan. She is Gamecock owned and operated. She's one of the sweetest people ever. And they're located right there in the town center in Mount Pleasant. So if you're in the Low Country, go eat some lunch and go get your bike at Electric Bikes of Charleston. All right. And there's Lance right on cue. Warm weather beers hit different.
Yeah, they do, Lance. Especially when you're out working in the yard, too. That's a completely different experience.
You got that right. Yeah.
Shoot,
yeah. All right. So let's hit a break. We got some Sweet 16 to get into and still have some football to dabble with as well. How about Carolina? They're on the floor tomorrow. Can't wait to get into that. Right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for a karaoke partner, I can tell you, I can't carry a tune in a bucket. But what I do have is a very specific set of skills. Hang up now, and your IT nightmares will continue. But stay on the line, and I will find you. And when I find you, I will fix it. Thanks. I think I have the wrong number. I'm trying to call Matt at Heritage Digital. He has a one price, low cost turnkey solution for all my IT needs. And I'm sick and tired of my IT guy. So yeah, 843-699-1001. This is 1002. Oh, well, thanks anyway. Don't be taken by some IT dude that talks a big game. Give Matt at Heritage Digital a call, 843-699-1001.
Gamecock Nation, JB here, and I'm here to tell you about my new favorite painting company, A Couple of Painters. These guys are the best. Gamecock fans and excellent painters, and by far the best and easiest quote I've received. They're licensed in both South Carolina and Georgia. They offer 10% off for military, repeat customers, or if you heard it on the show, commercial and residential painting, deck, fence, and cabin staining, cabinet and furniture refinishing. They'll even remove popcorn ceilings and wallpaper, and they offer pressure washing. Find them on Facebook or call 803-522-6832. A Couple of Painters, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Golfers and wannabe golfers, former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor is now a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina. In-person golf lessons are held at the Country Club of Lexington. Half-hour, on course 9 or 18 holes. And if you're outside of South Carolina, Meredith conducts virtual lessons. Just send in your golf swing for analysis. Gift cards are available for in-person 1-hour lessons. Connect on Twitter at Mayor Taylor and find her online at McKellarEnterprises.org. Her email is on the website. Schedule your next lesson today with Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer.
You're tuned into Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Sideline and picked off. Brad Edwards will get a convoy. Touchdown, South Carolina.
God's a racial spurs. You ain't just a bird. You're top of the coop, star of the show. You're a rooster who's born to crow. Well, I bet you wonder when you win or lost a step or two. And I sing hallelujah, I do believe it's happening. We're almost to the top of the mountain. Yes, so brothers and sisters, lift your voices, clap your hands. 'Cause we ain't far from the promised land. I said I'm from the front pew of a wooden white church, a courthouse clock that still don't work, where a man's word means everything, where moms and dads were high school flames who gave their children grandmother's maiden name. Yes, it may not sound like much, but it's where I'm from. Oh, there ain't nothing like her. She's a southern, one of a kind. Even in my dreams I still find her. She's like an old friend waiting when I close my eyes. And how lucky I am to call her mine. No, you'll never find another like my Carolina. Where does it go when you swear you know that it's all right there? An endless supply of milk and honey, time and love, Friday night money. I wonder, where does it go? Yeah, I love the year 2001 and Bill Williams, Bryce Rock. Oh, what else can I say? Until my dying day, I'll be a South Carolina Gamecock. Yes, I will. Woo!
That's tonight, right here in the Low Country, March 24th, down at the Riviera on King Street. If you are in town, and there are, well, this morning I think there were I might be a little off on this. I think there were 16 tickets left, or 18. One of those. They're $35. So if you're around, you don't have plans tonight, and you feel comfortable watching the Gamecocks play baseball on your phone while you're watching Patrick and his show, come on down. It's going to be just absolutely awesome. This is one of my favorite shows. I'm not saying that because he's a friend. I'm like number one in the Air Church fan club. Okay. So I would just not say anything, or I just would say, sure, we'll promote it, but I'm not going to waste my time. It is one of the coolest shows ever. It really is. You never know who you're going to see there. You probably just saw a bunch of people in those photos. If you're watching our program that you recognize, like Steve Tannehill and Corey Miller and Darius Rucker. And then my final pitch for him is always what he has done for the University of South Carolina and the state of South Carolina is just unbelievable. He's done so much that he will never even see the light of day. Not to mention his Toys for Tots shows that he does every year, the night before Clemson, Carolina. He's just done a lot. And so if you can go, I hope you can go. You'll be able to meet me and my wife and some other folks that'll be with us. And if you can't, maybe you can catch him again here soon. But no, Bobby, he did not have to sing at his own wedding at all, actually. He had so Channing Wilson is a big-time up-and-coming guy out of Nashville who played. Mark Bryan was supposed to be there and play, but he got hurt on a paddleboard, and he could not make the trip, which sucked. Mark from Hootie and the Blowfish. And then he had another band. I can't remember the name of those guys, but they were awesome. He just likes to sing, so he got up and had a good time, and so did his wife, Lauren, who will be there tonight as well. So Patrick Davis downtown tonight. If you've got VIP, the doors open at 6:30 up on the rooftop for some cocktails. Speaking of National Cocktail Day.
Yeah, there you go. Right. It all comes back around.
You're damn right. So let's go back up there, Phil, because there was a lot when we got Coach Lake on that people were just they just kept going with it. All right, so Sonder, today is National Cocktail Day and National Cheesesteak Day. So Sonder said, I just confirmed with my lady. He didn't put old in front of that. Whereas my family would say my old lady. They're doing DB's tonight, DB's cheesesteaks. Oh. So shout out there.
Yeah.
Sonder, have you had the buffalo chicken cheesesteak there, or do you just get the original? Just out of curiosity.
I'm intrigued by that buffalo chicken cheesesteak. That sounds delicious.
It's really good. It's chopped chicken, just like they do the cheesesteak too. So it's great.
Yeah, if it weren't 3 hours away.
I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry I missed this from Ed. I wish we would have mentioned this to Coach Lake. The award-winning Nana Sports chat box. Chime in as you may. Ed said, I like the Sports Illustrated cover that Coach Lake has on his wall. John Roach was the GOAT. Boy, you are not lying there, my man. Bobby said, I feel cheated missing Coach Lake minus the hat.
That's right. You have to check out last Friday's episode.
He put that hat on. Yeah, there's no doubt. And Skylar Mead promised me one of those hats 2 years ago, and I never got it. I haven't forgotten that. So that's another thing I need to take up with somebody in that program, because now I'm pissed. Bobby said DB's for the win with the boardwalk fries. You got that right. The boardwalk fries come with the Old Bay seasoning. Attaboy. 76 said Phillies did just close, and I was not happy. Phillies was bussing. Phillies
bussing.
Jordan is airing something on some type of spam channel. Do we know Jordan?
I don't know Jordan.
Well, you don't know Jordan, right? Jordan's Jordan is from the
I appreciate Jordan punching the like button on the show, but I don't know if we should put that link up.
Jordan, a member of the CCP, or what is this here? Is this Tic Tac?
Tic Tac.
Let's see here. Blind Squirrel said, I'm allegedly drinking natural ice over here. Oh no. Please tell me that's not true.
Is that well, he is a Georgia fan.
Oh well,
he is a dog.
We'll pick.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself, Blind Squirrel.
He Probably doesn't care. When you win back-to-back national championships, who cares what anybody says about you?
You drink whatever.
I think he understands we're being very playful because the blind squirrel guys, we love blind squirrel sports. But natural ice sure would fit right in with the state of Georgia. You got that right. 76 asked, how nasty is LSU? Well, it depends on what part of Baton Rouge you're in. There's some parts that no, I'm just kidding. They're really good. They're really, really good. They added a ton of transfers. Tommy Tanks is down there now from North Carolina State. They're really, really good. But it's baseball, and this is going to be shocking to people. They're going to lose games too. So we'll see how it all works out. Bobby said a solid list of hooch there. Got one pretty similar. Add some Colonel Taylor, some Eagle Rare, Knob Creek Barrel Pick, and Penelope Toasted. Penelope Toasted?
I don't know. Never heard of that.
I haven't either. Eagle Rare certainly have. That comes from the Buffalo Trace Distillery, which is the coolest distillery. If you're ever looking for an off the radar, really neat road trip, Phil, and I've said this a lot, and you and I and JC have thrown around some cool ideas for our program moving forward that have to do with road trips, as a matter of fact. I personally have long thought that the best road trip in the SEC is to Lexington, Kentucky, outside of the way that you're treated if they're beating you up there, which is it's bizarre. They think they're Alabama. But the trip itself, Kentucky's a pretty state to travel through, especially if you play up there in October and you got the tracks open. And the Bourbon Trail is one of the neatest experiences, especially if you map it out to hit a bunch of them in one day. And we've been to quite a few. Woodford, it looks like a college campus. The green is like lush and long grass, and it's just I mean, this is going to be shocking to everybody, but it's like Kentucky bluegrass, but it's just beautiful. But the Buffalo Trace Distillery, just old, just has so much history in it. When you go into their storage areas where they store all the barrels, Phil, like how tall are you? 6'2". 6'2". You'd have a lot of trouble in there. Like they built this back in the day because everybody was short. So they literally built it to pack as many barrels in as they could for as high as the building would go. But then they only had short people in there. So if you were, and I'm short, I'm almost 5'9". And I was literally grazing the top, like you had to be like 5'5" to work in there.
Wow. So
like if you're a tall dude, you're literally bending down, but it's neat. I mean, you got to go in and see it. I'll throw up some pictures at some point in time. But there's a lot of great bourbon that comes out of there. It is National Cocktail Day for anybody chiming in or tuning in going, what the hell's going on here? It's National Cocktail Day. So anyways, yeah, there's some good stuff. 76 said his favorite hot dogs come from baseball stadiums. We are going in August for my 50th, JB. Can't wait. Craig chimes in about the Bourbon Trail. Yeah, dude, it's Four Roses was pretty good. There's a lot of good ones up there. I mean, you do your research. Obviously, if you feel like I can help you or something, reach out. But do your research. You're gonna really enjoy that. So, Georgia, the South Carolina. I don't even know what's happening here. I'm trying to get caught up, and I don't know where this conversation went.
It goes so fast. They have their own little show. Yeah. There's a small show that goes on in the Nana Sports chat box.
Yeah.
So hop on in.
Yeah. 76 said a bunch of crackheads and meth houses in Kentucky. Just saying, watch out. Yeah, well, there's plenty of those apparently in South Carolina and North Carolina too.
Yeah. I mean, I live close to Pickens County, so I can. I can confirm.
2 weeks ago, instead of cutting through the parkway and then through the Smoky Mountain National Park, we went the back way, which was to Gatlinburg to take our kids when we were up in Maggie Valley. We went I-40 and then the back roads into Gatlinburg. Guess what?
Lots of it there too.
A lot of meth houses in eastern Tennessee. I was looking around going, oh, God, don't break down here. Don't break down here. We'll never be seen from again. I was going to ping everybody I knew to make sure that they knew where we were. Marion said, JB, I missed the on the road again segments. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
We're kicking around ideas, Just keep supporting the sponsors and liking the show and sharing the show and getting the word out. And we got big plans.
Yes, we got big plans. Craig, do you have to have reservations at each distillery? Well, so no. They're all a little bit different though, because you have to, like, you can sign up for tours. So, but then you can also go to some of these distilleries and just take yourself on a self-guided tour, essentially. Like, you won't learn all the history, but if you're trying to cram a bunch of them in just to see them all, you can do it that way. I would suggest actually taking some of the tours where they teach you and then they finish the tour and you get to do like a little flight and stuff like that of some of the different stuff. And so, yeah, if you've got some time, try to schedule it that way. Bobby says the Buffalo Trace kosher rye is amazing, but probably hard to get. I'm assuming. Yeah. So I've got a secret weapon. I've not had the kosher rye, Bobby. I don't think that's not the like $600 bottle, is it?
Definitely wouldn't be one in my collection.
No, me neither. But there's like a $600 bottle of Trace that I have had, but it was given to my cousin as a gift. So he didn't buy it either. And this was 3 years ago. And hey, how about this? Outside of the 3 tastes we had, I'd been touched since. We're like really waiting for that special occasion. Maybe it's winning a national championship or something. I don't know what could be that special, but
I have a hard time saving anything like that, though, JB.
A $600 bottle?
I would still have a hard time saving anything like that, JB. Especially if I didn't pay for it. I'd be like, shit, this is good. Oh. Let's have another. You know what that one calls for? Another
one. Yeah, exactly. My guy at my liquor store, he keeps the stuff that the locals are after. Buffalo Trace, some of the Wellers, some of the Eagle Rares, some of that type stuff. You go in there and you're like, oh, they don't have any of this stuff. They have a lot of stuff. It's a good liquor store, but they don't have it. They don't have it. And then those guys walk out and I walk up to the counter. I'm like, hey man, you got any Trace for me? It's like, yep, right back here. But they do that because there are these, and y'all probably heard of them. There are these scams. These people, I don't know how they get the information, but they know when the distributor releases certain cases to different parts of the country who don't get a bunch, and they go around and they buy it up. So even if you're going to sell Trace for $80 a handle, they'll go buy up a case of it and they'll turn around and sell it on the black market to somebody in I don't know where, North Dakota or God knows where, who can't get it for months, and they'll pay $200 a bottle or whatever it is. I mean, it's really bizarre. I'm just learning about a lot of it. But yeah, so if you, my suggestion would be to get to know your liquor guy. And if you're looking for something, then there you go. All right, Brian, I see your question. We'll answer that. We literally didn't get much into football, but UCF has announced a football campus, and they've released their renderings. That is certainly something that we're going to mention here, and we'll get into what Dawn and the ladies can achieve this weekend in the Sweet 16 plus tonight's schedule after what we saw last night. Just incredible stuff on the hardwood. Hang tight. We'll be right back.
If you're in the upstate of South Carolina and are in need of residential real estate services, Cindy Bass, Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane is for you. Ask her about the Village at Creekside, all of her listings. In my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina, right there on Daniel Morgan Avenue, married to a lifelong Gamecock fan, and many of our listeners have already bought homes from her and been 100% satisfied with the detail and care she uses. Cindy Searfoss, 864-414-5271, Caldwell Banker Kane in the upstate for your real estate needs.
Coach Joe here, and when I'm not eating average jambalaya or celebrating endless summer in Destin, I like to eat pimento cheese straight out the bucket. And the only pimento cheese I like to eat is from Nana's porch. It's award-winning. It'll melt in your mouth. It's good on a cracker. It's good in a bowl. It's good on a piece of bread. Also, don't forget Nana's Porch has a hell of a food truck. It's award-winning as well, and they're here for all of your catering needs. So get online, nanasporch.com. It's good. Coach O signing off. Endless summer. Go Tiger.
The preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics is Signorama Columbia, and they should be yours too. A full-service sign company that handles design, production, install, and service, Signorama Columbia has helped to bring to life the perfect vision for so many all across South Carolina. Owned and operated by proud Gamecock alumni, they can handle all types of signage, including interior and exterior, vehicle graphics, and more. Go to Signorama.com and find the West Columbia location, or call them at 803-407-9284. Bring your brand to life with Signorama Columbia, and go Gamecocks.
Hey man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
You know what, Phil? Let's ask Stone Blanton.
Hey JC and Phil, if you want a solution to your IT problems, give Heritage Digital a call. Our boy Matt Odom has a low-cost, one-price solution that will get you running right. Call 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com and ask for Matt. He will hook you up today and tell them Stone sent you.
This is freshman All-American Nicky Memorial of the Carolina Gamecocks, and you're listening to The Show with JC and Phil.
Welcome back to the Signorama Studios, everybody. Inside the Gamecocks, the show, brought to you by Express Sunrooms in Columbia, 803-446-4662, or John B. at expresssunrooms.com. It's how to get in touch with them to talk about enclosing your porch or patio this summer so that you can enjoy the outside bug-free. And yeah, this will probably be a quick hitting segment because we've got one more break to get to.
Yeah, got just a few minutes here. I want to answer Brian's question. He did ask it earlier, and I forgot to get to it as well. Yeah, if the weather's warm, that'll obviously determine it. And certainly you can do things like go to the beach and just mosey around downtown. It depends on how much you've been to Charleston as to what I would recommend. If you're looking for places to eat and hang out and things like that, personally, one of my favorite places on earth is Fleet Landing downtown. The prices for Charleston are good. They have the best calamari on the planet. There is no calamari that man has ever created that is better than that of the calamari at Fleet Landing. I don't care what anybody says. You're wrong. You're all wrong. It's not the traditional ring calamari. It looks like cheese sticks when it comes out, like mozzarella sticks, and then you bite into it and you realize you only order one. You might need to order another one or two. We always order two when we get down there, and it's all gone within 5 minutes.
I was talking to my wife about Fleet Landing. She insists that she and I had been there before, but I don't think I had the calamari.
Oh, well, you would remember if you did.
Yeah, see, that's what I was telling her. I was like, well, according to JB, I would know if I had it.
Yeah, you would know. You sit right on Charleston Harbor, but if you're going to go there and you want to eat there, you better probably make a reservation. Just to be on the safe side, or just go and try to sit at the bar. But it's awesome. Yeah, there's a ton of places or a ton of things we could, so it just depends on what you haven't done in the Low Country. If looking for a place to hang out, go out to the Windjammer. Look on the walls. You'll see the Darius Ruckers and all that stuff. If you want to go to the Yorktown, if you want to catch a game, there's just a lot of things to do. But tell me what you haven't done, and I'll tell you what you need to do. VJ, hey guys, been tough to listen live with work lately. What's the next major window where we might see a wave of football commitments? Yeah, pretty close to the spring game weekend. Let's put it that way. I think that so you've got a major announcement from Josiah Thompson coming up on April the 11th. That's also my sister's birthday, so hats off to her. They didn't coordinate that. Blake Franks is somebody you need to keep an eye on. And there are, when JC gets back, he'll be able to fill you in on all this. I don't like speaking out of turn, and when I do, those things make it to the message boards as things that I didn't say. No, whoever posted that clearly misheard me. I'm just picking on you. It's not a big deal. I really don't care. We're just having fun. But yeah, so April is probably going to be a watch type month for South Carolina. And then once again, just I'm kind of falling in line with the things that I'm told here, guys. I would say that you obviously can see things happen in May, but June is going to be one of those can't put your phone down type months for Carolina.
Yeah, it should shape up like that. It was last year, I would imagine. You might have a little bit of activity between now and then, but that's when it'll really kick off.
Yeah, it's coming. And now that they've started spring practice too, you've probably noticed where they're getting some visitors on campus and things like that. And so there are 2 unannounced welcome homes. Pretty good idea of who those guys are, right? But we'll kind of wait on that and wait and let them do their thing. So
that's right. They get videos made and all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Brian said he's done nothing in Charleston. Lived there when I was 25 for a year, but didn't have a license and never went out looking for things for my 3-year-old. Oh, yeah. Well, I've got 4-year-olds. So yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, look, man.
There's so much to do.
Stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you just walking around downtown. I mean, just looking at the buildings and stuff. It's
I mean, you
truly historic city.
Taking a walk downtown, going out to Folly and see the new pier. The restaurant's back open on the pier out on Folly. I mean, do you need a playground for them to go to? You could go to the James Island County Park. They can do that all day, and you can also. I mean, it's a great place just to go see and hang out. Walk around down on the Battery and eat lunch while you're down there. I mean, I could give you a list of places to eat, but they're all really pretty good.
If it's a nice day, hop on the ferry, ride around the harbor.
Yep, that's where I was going next.
Don't even have to get out and tour something or anything like that. But because you can leave from Charleston and end up at Patriots Point, and fun ride.
Take a harbor cruise, head out to Fort Sumter, and if your kid's not scared of being on the water, absolutely. I agree. I mean, you're going to want to try to get to the beach while you're here. You'll probably want to go see Shim Creek. It is much different than it used to be. I don't go there as often anymore, but it's very, very packed. So there's just a lot of different Brian, if you've got my email, send me an email and I'll give you a list. How about that? So we don't bore everybody else to death with, no offense, but with your vacation plans next week.
Although my wife does swear that, like, if she were to ever get arrested for anything, what's arrest worthy risk for her would actually be to take some sort of watercraft out to Castle Pinckney just to go in there and see what it's like.
I've been there. You want me to tell you
Castle Pinckney?
you want me to tell you a story about that? When I was in high school,
I'd love to.
my cousin and I at the time, we were in a 17 whaler and we went out there and we tied off and we walked the grounds of Castle Pinckney and walked right into about a 15-foot snake. I mean, it was like a freaking.
I told her, I was like, "You're probably gonna run into some snakes at Castle Pinckney."
It was like a freaking anaconda. I'm telling you, I kid you not. The damn thing was that big around. You ain't never seen my feet didn't even hit the sand getting back into that boat. I was like the road runner, dude. We got out of there so fast you couldn't imagine how. I mean, I'm telling you, I was faster than the boat was. I mean,
right.
So if you now you can't do that. It's illegal just to
no,
go.
That's right. Yeah.
Around.
It's not. Yeah. It is not open to the public, so it would be a breaking and entering kind of situation.
Yeah. Castle Pinckney's got but learn the history if you can, Brian, while you're here. G.G. Jackson is history. He is no longer at South Carolina. We've known this is coming, Phil. He is. He's declared for the draft, but it was very nonchalant. Yeah,
casually. Yeah, it's like he just woke up and it's like, well, I'll get on IG Live.
I'm gonna go to the draft.
And
wish him the best of luck.
Yeah.
I think this is this is something. I literally mean this with no disrespect to G.G. Jackson in any way, shape, or form. If he saw this, I would hope he understands. I don't mean it this way. I think this because of the one and done nature and because of how bad the season was. In about 10 years, we're going to be sitting around going, like on Craig's 60th birthday in 10 years, it's going to be like, oh God, I forgot Gigi Jackson played at South Carolina.
Yeah, right.
I mean, seriously, like I really, I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't. I mean, not all of us will be like that. If the kid's playing in the league for a long time, people are always going to claim him as one of their own. But there's going to be a lot of people who they tuned it out, man. Like as soon as they dropped all those games in Charleston, people were like, I'm not watching this anymore. They suck. If they get any better, I'll watch it. I don't care who's playing for them. And
it didn't get any better.
It didn't get any better. So I think,
I guess incrementally through the season it did, but I mean, not to the point where it was, captivating. Yeah. Must watch basketball. No. Mm-mm.
I would say this too, and I know we got to hit our final break, but I'll say this too. If next year, who knows what's going to happen next year? I don't think it can get any worse, but my God, who knows? If they're better, I really hope we don't inherit or absorb this narrative that they're better because Gigi's not there.
Yeah.
Because while there were clearly issues with him, he mentioned it today, and I had some things, with the coaches, whatever. That's true, but that's not the only reason why they weren't good. Like, did he have the freshman? He's probably going to get a bunch of awards, guys. I mean, they're coming. He's Gigi Jackson. Just on name alone, he's going to get voted for. But like next year, if they're better, they're probably better because the team's just going to be better. I don't know how much better. I don't know if they will be better. All I'm saying is, like, let's just try to get out in front of dispelling some crazy rumor that he wasn't a team player. He tore this thing apart, and that's why they weren't any good. Well, I don't think they were any good because they really just didn't have good players. Like, I don't care Texas is in the elite, might be in the Elite Eight. They're in the Sweet 16 right now. Their coach got fired like 3 months ago for, I get whatever happened. I don't know, but they said he beat up his girlfriend or something. But he hadn't even been there. So like, I don't, but here they are because they got a bunch of really good players and they're in the Sweet 16. So like, yeah, is it coaching? Sure. But you also got to have good players or you can't win games. And I just don't think they had really good players.
Yeah, and depth too. I mean, that's another thing that we have been lacking. And I think you're right. I mean, the narrative next year can't be, because Gigi left, we're still bad. I mean, not in this era with transfer portal and all that other stuff. I mean, you can tear down and reassemble a team in any sport, from the ground up. Heck, look at what Missouri's bringing in this weekend. I mean, that's not the same team they were. I mean, that program was torn down and rebuilt, by way of using the transfer portal and things like that. So, it's not any one player's fault that this season went well, and it's not his departure that's going to impact anything on next season.
Yeah, both Missouri basketball and baseball, according to John Whittle. All right, final timeout. We will begin to wrap things up when we return. Something that really stands out on the women's side as they're set to go this weekend in the Sweet 16. You'll want to hear that next on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Here in the days of being back in the pool and boat are quickly approaching. Many of us don't have the time to hit the gym, but Charleston Fitness Equipment can change that for you. Outfit your home with a treadmill, elliptical, or my favorite, a home rower that allows you to row with the pros all over the world. They have free weights, home gyms, flooring, and much more that makes keeping or getting in shape much more convenient. Located in Mount Pleasant, visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com for more. Get in shape like our Gamecocks. Charleston Fitness Equipment, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Daddy, I want you to take me to Disney World.
Calm down. JC is here. As y'all know, folks, the family and I have visited Disney World many times, but it can be overwhelming, especially if it's your first time going to the most magical place on earth. I highly recommend wherethisroadleads.com and my friend Cherie, a certified Disney vacation planner. That's right, the mouse has given her permission to book your family vacation hassle-free. You don't know where to go, don't know where to stay, don't know where to eat, don't know what to do. It can be overwhelming. So get on wherethisroadleads.com and schedule your free consultation right now. She can help you out. The prices are very reasonable. You don't pay any extra fees. In fact, she's much more reasonable maybe than booking it straight through Disney. So for your next Disney vacation, or, more likely your first, so you don't panic, go to wherethisroadleads.com and talk to Cherie, certified Disney vacation planner, a partner of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
This is Braylon Wimmer, South Carolina Gamecock Baseball, and you are listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Go Cox!
Welcome back, everybody. The final segment of Inside the Gamecocks, the show, brought to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Give them a call. Talk about how they can get some sunshine into your life this summer. And we got about 5 or 6 minutes here, JB, just to wrap things up. But women, play tomorrow here in Greenville? UCLA, what time's tip? 6?
Sure do, yeah. 2. So on the men's side, what's left today is San Diego State and Bama at 6:30 on TBS. Alabama's a 7.5-point favorite in the game. Miami and Houston, 5-1 matchup, or another 5-1 matchup. 7:15 tonight on CBS. Houston, 7.5-point favorite. Princeton and Creighton, probably the most interesting or never thought of Sweet 16 matchup of the year. Tonight at 9 on TBS. Creighton, the Blue Jays are 10-point favorites in that game. They are a combined 46-20 on the season, those two teams.
Wow.
And then tonight at 9:45 on CBS, you've got third-seeded Xavier and second-seeded Texas. And the Longhorns are 4.5-point favorites in that game. Tomorrow night in men, Kansas State's a 2-point favorite, Phil, over Florida Atlantic in that 9-3 matchup. And then Gonzaga and UConn, where Connecticut is a 2-point favorite over the Zags at 8:49 on TBS tomorrow evening. So then I gave you the spreads of those games. On the women's side, okay, you got Miami and Villanova, 9-4 today at 2:30 on ESPN. Villanova is a 5-point favorite. LSU and Utah, 3-2 matchup. LSU is a 5-point favorite over second-seeded Utah at 5 o'clock tonight on ESPN. 7:30 on ESPN is Colorado and Iowa. Iowa's a 6-point favorite. And then 10 o'clock tonight on ESPN, Ole Miss, who's made some noise, against 5th-seeded Louisville. Louisville's a 3-point favorite. Okay. So let's roll into tomorrow. I've given you the point spreads for every men's and women's game. Notre Dame and Maryland, a 3-2 matchup. Maryland is a 4-point favorite. UConn and Ohio State, 4 o'clock tomorrow on ABC. Connecticut, 2-3 matchup there. They're the 2 seed. 10-point favorites. Tennessee is a 4 seed. Virginia Tech is a 1 seed, Phil. That is all even right now. Oh, I forgot one. UCLA and South Carolina tomorrow at 2 o'clock on ESPN. Gamecocks, 17-point favorites.
Jeez. I don't like that line. I don't agree with that.
And the over-under is 120. So they are 17-point favorites tomorrow. Connecticut and Maryland combined are 14-point favorites. The other 3 games are three less points. They're favored by 3 less points than the Gamecocks are in their one game.
Yeah. I think UCLA is a sneaky, dangerous team. They're young, but they have a lot of talent, and they played the Gamecocks well for a bit earlier in the year. So I don't know. I think that line's a little bit lopsided. I may, if I were a betting man, maybe take UCLA in the points there.
Are you? I don't. It's hard for me to go bet anything against Dawn Staley's team, man.
I'm not betting against them yet, but I mean the spread I think might be a little closer than 17. Now, we might get back on here Monday and be like, "Oh, look, Phil's an idiot. They won by 25."
Join the party, Phil.
Yeah, right.
Join the crowd, my man.
But I wouldn't bet against them either. I mean, and they're in their second home here in Greenville, so it's going to be that place will be packed with fams. It'll be just like being at the CLA, I bet.
Yeah, it's very much the UConn treatment of past. Right now, South Carolina women's basketball is, it's just kind of all going their way. It's kind of all going their way. Blind Squirrel, thanks for allowing this dog to allegedly talk sports and shenanigans. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you, man. We really certainly appreciate it, and I hope. I mean this wholeheartedly. I hope your dogs don't get swept again this weekend.
Yeah, that was a tough one last night.
No,
they came back.
I didn't know that. I thought
extra innings.
I thought Georgia. Because I was kind of just taking a peek at it. I wanted to see how they do against Auburn. And I thought, oh, okay, well, they'll win. Because I think Georgia's actually got a chance to be better than people think they do. There's a lot of people that are really down on them. I am not. I actually like some of the pieces that they have. I think that it might take them a little time to kick it into gear, and it might be a little too late whenever they do. But we'll see. We'll see. Carolina and Missouri tonight.
Yeah.
As they open a 3-game series.
What time is the first pitch?
7 o'clock.
7
o'clock. SEC Network tonight, SEC Network Sunday, SEC Network Plus Saturday, but doesn't really matter if it's on TV or not. I always have Derek and Tommy in the background. Always.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Derek's feeling all right. Brian, have a safe trip to the Low Country, or maybe we'll talk to you before then. Thanks to Stuart Lake for joining us today. As always, thanks to Chef and producer Phil for keeping this train on the tracks, which apparently in America is rare these days. Thanks to our friends at travelingcountryclub.com. If you want to join a club and nobody will let you in, like if Jax Teller slammed the door in your face at some point in time, well, these guys won't do that. Promise you. Over 40 courses to play in the Carolinas. travelingcountryclub.com. Make sure you join it and enjoy your new golf experience. Bring the modern golf club to life. We are out of here. Go get them, ladies, tomorrow. Go get them, gentlemen, on the diamond. And you all enjoy a cheesesteak and a cocktail today. If you're in the Low Country, hopefully I'll see you at Patrick Davis tonight. But we know we'll see all of you back at 11 o'clock on Monday on Inside the Gamecocks, the show from the Sinorama Studios.